Okay, so we're up to Parashas Yisro. And in this Torah portion, the Yidden come to Har Sinai, to Mount Sinai, and they're going to get the Torah. We find something very interesting, that while they traveled and camped from when they left Egypt until they got to Har Sinai, there was a lot of complaining and fighting. And all of a sudden, when they come to Har Sinai, we have that they are united. The Jewish people are united. How do we see this? There are two opinions. There's the Mechilta, which is the Medrash, and then there's Rashi. And they both say the same thing, but they highlight different points, and how they get there is a little bit different. So we'll start with the Mechilta. The Mechilta is the Medrash, and the picture that it paints is as follows. Is the Jewish people had 42 journeys from when they left Egypt until 40 years later, when they actually arrived to the land of Israel. And these 42 journeys, well, it's not just random. And it's not just, packing suitcases, unpacking suitcases, but rather it's different levels. It's growing in our level in our levels of connection to Hashem. So every time there was a stop, and every time when they started traveling again, it meant working on a new level, accomplishing something else, another rung in their service of Hashem. So when you have 600,000 people, just men, from ages 20 to 60, and plus much more, traveling, so everyone has a different opinion. Did we complete our service yet? Are we ready to move on to the next level? And everyone is different. Everyone has a different soul, a different.
So it wasn't on the same level at the same time.
So that's why, according to the Chota,
get there at that point. So some people, like by 40 years, everybody had completed it.
So according to the Mechilta, what they were arguing about, it was more a spirit, spiritually. Did we? Hashem is telling us to move. See, some of the stops were just for a very short time. Some of the stops were for years. So when they had to just pick up, when they had this, when the cloud moved, and when the cloud picked up, and they realized that they had to move to the next place. Thank you. They questioned: are we spiritually ready to move on now? Are we going too slow? Are we going too fast? And so it was more of a spiritual. They were when the cloud picked up from the from the Mishkan. It was a sign that they had to move. But still, thank you so much. There was always this discussion, this debate. Why is Hashem telling us to move right now? What is the next step? What do we have to do? What do we have to work on? Why?
They had no distractions. They didn't need clothes. They didn't need to cook. They didn't do anything. They literally focused 40 years straight. Imagine doing that for a month. Forget about 40 years. Imagine just for a month, all you had to do was work on your connection with Hashem.
Yeah. So they were asking themselves, what does Hashem want from us now? What's our next step? What's our next move? Why are we moving so quickly? Why or why are we not moving? Why are we staying here for so many years? Like didn't we already accomplish what we had to accomplish? Like, why isn't the cloud moving? Like, why aren't we going forward? Why are we still staying here for so many months or so many years?
Sometimes I was just sharing this with a friend, like why am I feeling like a little down or a little something, right? So I work on myself. Like, why is that getting to me, let's say, or whatever, or like criticizing ourselves, so it's interesting. Like, I'm supposed to be here already. Like, I'm supposed to be like in a good place. Like, obviously not. No, obviously, like obviously our life mission is to, like, every day work on ourselves, so, I mean, when you're, like, you're done, you're 6 feet under, you're done, you know? It's not like, they had obviously they had you know what I'm saying, they had a goal, Mountain Torah was a goal.
But didn't they rely
more
on
clear.
that, then why were they complaining?
So,
Or
so,
wondering.
so in a spiritual sense, they're wondering what, you see, when something happens, we ask ourselves, why did Hashem do this?
Right.
And what does it mean? And what lesson should I take? And what does Hashem want from me? So they were, they were also human beings, as great as they were. They have the same questions. Yes, Hashem is telling us to move now, but why is telling us to move so quickly? Maybe we didn't finish our Avodah yet. What happened?
Hashem spoke to them.
But you know what, we learned this Parshas B'Shalach last year, the year before. The Jews were gathering the spoils from the Yam Suf, and then Moshe said it's time to go, and they weren't so happy to go. They said, "Oh, there's still more sparks over here. There's still more stuff and if once we leave, we're never gonna be able to come back and get them." So, it's basically they would, even if they're gonna do, Hashem says go, they're gonna go, but they had different opinions. They're going to behave however Hashem tells them to behave. Whatever Hashem says go, you go. But there was different opinions. What are we supposed to do? Where, what's the next step? Back and forth. So, and how does the Mechilta know that this is the case? Because everything is in plural sense. Vayachanu, they camped. Vayisu, and they traveled. Everything is in plural sense, plural terms. So that's how he says, oh, they weren't one. They had various different opinions. And even when their first stop from Ramses to Sukkot, which was like in a blink of an eye, where they wouldn't even have time to start having discussions. Even then, yes, it was in the blink of an eye, like on the wings of eagles. It was very, very quick. But even so, yes, it was one swoop and they were all out. But they still had different opinions, and therefore, even from that stop, even from the very first stop, it's still in plural sense, still in plural terms, because they had still a difference of opinion. And then they come to, and so that's how it was usually. Usually there was fighting and not fighting as in hands, as in calling. Names and name calling. My daughter, I don't know where she got this from. She says, if someone says you're stupid, you should tell them stupid is in the dictionary. A dictionary is made out of paper. Paper comes from trees. Trees is in nature, and nature is beautiful. So thank you very much.
Oh, wow, so funny.
I like that.
So it's not that they were, according to the Mechilta, it's not that they were bickering and name calling and stuff like that, but rather it was in a spiritual sense. They had different opinions, and then that was the usual way that they behaved. And then when they come to Har Sinai, magic. All of a sudden, they're like with one man with one heart. And they all had the same opinion. Usually it's 2 Jews and 3 opinions. Here they all had the same opinion. This is according to the Mechilta, which is a medrash. Rashi, which his job is to explain the text according to the simple interpretation. He says you can't say just because it's in plural form, they traveled, they camped, that they were fighting, that they weren't united, because it makes sense. If you have so many people traveling, of course you're going to use the plural, the plural tense. So Rashi is not bothered by the fact that it says in plural, Vayisu and Vayachanu in plural. He says that's how it should be. So what's Rashi? Where does Rashi stop? Rashi says Vayichan Sham Yisrael Negadahar, and the Jews camped there. The word sham, 2 letters, shin mem, and that Rashi takes issue. The church just said, Vayichan Yisroel. The Jews camped. Where does that have the word there? So from the fact that it says that they camped there, like one man with one heart, right? But they camped there. Oh, so there they camped like there at Har Sinai. They camped like one man with one heart. But everywhere else, they were fighting but not just in spiritually, but they were actually fighting and complaining, literally. So whatever path you want to take, whether you want to follow the Mechilta, whether you want to follow Rashi, whether it was fighting that was literal fighting, or whether it was just spiritually fighting, or whether it was just fighting, or just a difference of opinion, whatever it is, when they come to Har Sinai, magic, everything is cured. Everyone, everyone shares the same opinion. And nobody is fighting, not spiritually, not physically, not name calling, nothing. Everything is like one man with one heart. Magic. And why does this happen? Why? How? Because of the giving of the Torah. So the $1 million question is, what is the connection between Torah? What is the Torah? What is it about the Torah that all of a sudden it unifies everybody?
The truth.
The truth, absolutely.
But I still have a question.
Okay.
You can have one man and one heart and still have a million opinions. You could still be at peace and still have many opinions.
Could agree to
So
disagree.
what is it that made everybody see things exactly one way?
Okay, so this unity that we're talking about a unity that's MS, that's true, and true unity has to go, it's through and through. It's not just that we have different opinions, but we're all going to follow the same path. We're all going to do the same thing. But we're talking about a unity that's completely encompassing, that's not just about my action, but in emotion and in intellect, they were all united. They were all united, not just in a behavior.
That's the whole level of, wow. I can't even
That's
imagine.
when Mashiach comes also.
That's going to be when Mashiach comes, absolutely.
It's a very clear truth, that's why.
Mhm.
It's clear what Hashem wants from you.
It's tremendous clarity.
Tremendous clarity.
You saw the Kedusha, you saw Hashem.
But there's no ego, I think there's just no ego involved because Hashem was there, so I think when there's no ego, you just see everyone agree, because there's one truth, there's no two truths.
There's one truth, absolutely. Wow. So you're all saying wonderful things and everything that everyone's saying is true. But yes, there is only one truth. So there was this teaching and there was another teaching, and this teaching was much harder. And I'm here to learn it with you. There was something about this teaching that was so intriguing to me that I thought, oh, we're doing the class a day later. I'll have more time. I'll be more prepared. But it was something that I had that I thought I had a grasp on, and then I realized I didn't understand it all. But there was something so intriguing here, which made me stick to that. Like, I have to get to the bottom of this. And the question is, and also the question is, what is it about the Torah that was able to unite the people in such a true way that in every single aspect they were united? Literally, like one man with one heart, literally, like one person, wow. What happened here? What happened here? And how can we reenact that again? And because we have the Torah.
Right, and even in the Torah, there's machlekes.
And that's a very good question. The Torah encourages differences of opinion. The entire, what's the whole Gemara? Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and back and forth. There's always differences of opinion. And the Gemara, it's encouraged. It's encouraged that everyone has their flavor and their view and their outlook. Chesed and Gevura, exactly. And we all stem from, there's different, places where our neshamas come from. Yes, if you go track it all the way back, we all come from one source, but but in the evolution of how the souls come down, there are different midas that our souls come from, etc. And we all have different perspectives and different different colors and different flavors are all encouraged. So what went on here, and what is the power that Torah has? And if we learn about it, we could actually try to use it. Why was the Torah given in the first place? What is the goal of Torah? What is the goal of learning Torah? So up until this point, what would you say? What's the goal of learning Torah? Why do we learn Torah?
Today, you're saying today's day?
Yeah, why do we learn
Like,
Torah?
unify us.
To unify us, amazing.
To connect us to Hashem.
To connect us to Hashem. So up until now, the unifying piece wasn't so clear. Like, learn Torah. Why do you learn Torah? Yes, to connect to Hashem, absolutely. To connect to Hashem, to know what to do. That's how I view Torah learning. I didn't really see the connection. Of course, we all learn Torah, but the unity aspect of Torah wasn't so sharp.
No, but it's tricky because it unifies us, but then we have how commerce became halacha. We're having this whole discussion that, let's see, different sects that shave their head, different sects that wear this kind of tznius is like die hard. If you do anything less, so then it becomes like, the lines get really blurred. I'm part of that, so I don't, what I'm saying, I don't get tied into it. It has nothing to do with me, right? But let's say, what I'm saying, we have the same, do we have the same Torah? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm saying, no, sometimes I have a question. Now Hashem, people, it's like a joke one, my brother used to say, Hashem comes down and sees what's going on and goes, it's not the Torah I gave you, I want it back.
No, I think it's the other way around. They say the joke about, I don't know all the names of all the philosophers, but you have three planes with the Greek philosopher and Rome and Israel. So the philosophers and the big empires, they arrive on a plane to Rome, to Greece, and they're like, where is all the things that I built up, and there's nothing left. But Avraham Avinu comes on a plane, and it's the same tefillin, and it's the same kosher, and it's the same.
That's the positive side, but
Yeah.
But with all this it's like sometimes I wonder, I just wonder, do we have it, literally, are we
I think everyone stresses on what speaks to them or whatever, so we're all doing the same thing, but everyone stresses on whatever speaks to them. That's what I think, look at all these different Litfish, they're very into learning the whole day or whatever, and then Satmars into the very good smears. Everyone's stressed, we're all doing the same thing.
No, but I'm saying, but if Torah is
is
here to unify us,
It's
right? So then it's
right now,
tricky.
So-
It's
So
tricky,
we
because
have
it's
to understand.
because then we have this, I don't know, then it got some part of the Torah got distorted.
Okay,
So
so
what
Hashem.
happened?
Okay, so basically,
No.
we're gonna explain. We're gonna explain the process of how Torah unifies us, and if we understand the process and understand that the goal of Torah is not just to know how to behave as a good Jew, but if you understand that the goal of Torah is truly to unify us, which I thought obviously Yisrael is, it's a mitzvah in the Torah, but if we
But it's one
understand,
Torah, it's one Torah.
yeah, but if-
That's why it's supposed to unify us.
right,
Because
right,
Hashem didn't write a Torah for the Sephardim, one Torah, and for the Hasidim, and for the Hasidim in Monroe, another one, and for the Lubavitch, another one. It's one Torah. So
it's
of
one
course it
Torah.
has to
So
be
if
unified.
we realize that the purpose of the Torah, the whole reason why Hashem gave us the Torah is to unify us. And to understand the process of how that happens, it will actually help us have more love, more true Avas Yisroel. And not just that I have to love another Jew because of their soul, but to love them the way I see them right now. Like I could love you, I could love every Jew, not just because I have to look deeper and realize that they're a part of God and therefore I have to love them, but I could love them the way they are without even having to look deeper. And for me, it was an aha moment. It was a new thing. I'm happy that for you it's so one. But for some reason, I there was like a little bit of a separation in mind. Torah is Torah, and Avos Yisrael is Avos Yisrael. And yes, Avos Yisrael, like the whole Torah.
No, just look for me, because it makes sense. It's only one Torah.
Yeah,
So-
but it's true. It says that Avos Yisrael, that's the main, that's the entire Torah, and everything else is commentary. But you will see how that actually is. We'll see how that actually is. How the goal of Torah is literally to bring peace into the world.
Can I tell you that when we sit here, and I think each one of us is from a different background, right? But I'm truly in love with everybody here. Maybe somehow when we get together to learn, it's just that feeling that we all have for each other.
I invited Hindi to join our group. And I met her and she's like, a few weeks ago, she's like, oh, I'm running late. Is it worth it? I said, I could only speak for myself. Come and see what's going on here.
Yes. No, it becomes like family, you become one, and we're gonna see why. We're gonna see why. Okay, so basically with unity, there's two types of unity. There's a unity of one Hashem. And when Hashem reveals himself, since Hashem is truly one, then the light is so great that you don't see differences between the people. For example, when Hashem came to get the Jews out of Egypt, Hashem came himself. He shone this tremendous light. He swooped the Jews out of Egypt, and the light was so great. Hashem's oneness is so pure that you don't see a difference between person A and person B and person C. Hashem is one. And that is the greatest unity. Hashem is the only one. There's no space for anybody else. You don't see anything else, just one. And you would think Hashem's oneness, that is the greatest form of unity, that there's no place for anybody else. It's just Hashem, and that's it. That's number one. Number two is divisiveness. It's two people, two opinions, and number two, that's where that's division. Two is division. What's number three? Number three is a deeper unity. It's a deeper unity. It's even deeper than number one. And that's why the Torah is made up of three parts: Torah, Nevi'im, Ksuvim. It was given to a nation that's made up of three parts: Kayanim, Leviim, and Yisraelim. And it was given by the third one in his family. It was Aaron, Miriam, and Moshe. I don't know who. Moshe was the youngest in his family. And it was given in the third month: Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. So Nisan represents Hashem's oneness, number one, where Hashem comes and only he exists and everything else, and just takes us out, and there's no divisiveness. Number two, that's represented by the month of Iyar. In Iyar, each of us is counting Sfiras HaOmer. Each of us is working on our relationship with Hashem. That's where you see the most divisiveness. Each person is doing their work, their journey, etc. And then you have the unity of three, of taking different parts and they truly becoming one. And Hashem. And then you could also have like Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferes. Chesed is all the way to the right. Gevura is all the way to the left. And then you have Tiferes, which is the blend of Chesed and Gevura together. And that is a much stronger unity, because when I have only one, I'm always afraid, oh no, maybe something's going to crop up, pop up, and then there's going to be two, and then we have to fight it out. When you have three, you already have, there's no more challenge. You took the divisiveness, you took the split, and you brought them together as one into such a oneness, and that oneness is deeper and much more meaningful than the first type of oneness. So if I have me, I'm my own person. I'm one. But then you get married, you could have two people, and then there could be an argument, but then you could have two people get married and have a child, and then that child is a blend of both of them, and or the unity between a couple, however you want to look at it. And of course, one, you're one, you're by yourself. But when a person is able to get married, to unite with somebody else, that unity is so much more meaningful than just being on your own. So, and that shows, You see, when it's just one, it's not a kunst. It's like, what's the big deal? You're one. Of course you're one. But if you could blend opposites together and unite, that's unity that you worked on. That's unity that's true because there was effort involved and you have two people, two opposite opinions, and then then they come together. That you could call unity. That's one is one. It's there was nothing to unite.
When you're one alone, you're not forced to grow for anybody else. You stay that just, it's much harder to, it's harder to grow and evolve.
Absolutely. There's no challenge.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. So how does learning Torah work? So yes, there are two opinions. There's Beis Hillel, there's Beis Shammai, and there's a story in the Gemara where there was Rabbi Yehoshua. He was a great astrologer, and there was a question of what day to establish Yom Kippur. When is Yom Kippur going to be? Is it going to be on Wednesday or is it going to be on Thursday? And Rabbi Yeshua, I'm not sure which was which. Let's say Rabbi Yeshua thought or felt, according to astrology, according to the Chachma of Torah, according to the wisdom of Torah, that Yom Kippur should be on Thursday. Rabbi Gamliel, who was the one who was in charge of paskening the halacha, he said Yom Kippur falls out on Wednesday. So what do? One says Wednesday, one says it's Thursday. So this is a real thing. The whole Gemara is full of these discussions. Do we do this way? Do we do that way? What should we do? So you have two opposite opinions, two contradictory opinions. And what happens? So you have one opinion on this side, one opinion on that side. What happens is, okay, so I'll preface not like this. And we have this we say this in Davening every single day. You have two psukim. One pasuk says Hashem was in heaven. Another person says that Hashem was on earth. Hashem by the beginning of the Torah. Then you need a third opinion, a third verse, because those two opinions, those two verses are opposite. And as much as you delve into it to try to make to try to see to make a compromise, but it's not about compromise. There's two different opinions, and you're trying to make sense out of it, and you can't because they're two opposites. As much as you delve into it, you can't. There's nothing to do. There's two opposites. You need a third opinion to come, and that third opinion includes both other opinions, and it makes a resolution between them. So if one says God was in heaven, the other one says God was on earth, the third opinion comes and says God came on the mountain. God came on the mountain. He brought the heaven down to the mountain. He brought the earth up to the mountain, and then he revealed himself on Har Sinai. So you need a third verse, you need a third opinion to come and make a resolution between the other two. So here you have Beis Hillel says this, Beis Shammai says this, Rabbi Yeshua says this, Rabbi Gamliel says this. What do? You need a third opinion. You need number 3 to take the two together. And the third opinion, that is where you have peace, true peace. When you reveal the true peace, that's when you could have, when you reveal the third opinion, that's when you have true peace between the two opposite sides. So how does this work? What is this third piece? What is this third opinion? The third opinion is the halacha, the actual law that is determined. That is the third piece. That is the third opinion. So as soon as the third opinion, as soon as there's a ruling, a halachic ruling, a decision, an halacha, then we have peace. How does it happen? What happens? Everyone ever played the game Clue, right? So what do? You take a person, a room, and a weapon, and you put it underneath the board, and then the whole game you're trying to guess who is the person with which weapon and which room, etc. Right? So, but once once you take out the envelope from under the board and you see who the person is and which room it was is and which weapon it is, then you go to, if the game is not over, you're able to go to your paper and you say, oh, that's right, because I already checked off Miss Scarlet and Green. So if it was, so you're able to take what the information that you have and fit it in to what the answer key is. Once I have the answer key, or you're doing regents, right? And there's a bunch of questions, A, B, C, D. If you know the answer, if you see the answer key tells me the correct answer is D. Now I could explain to you why it's D, because once I know the fact, once I know the answer, okay, then I could fit all my other calculations into the answer. So what happens is, once halacha determines, makes a determination of what Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, once halacha says what halacha says, whoever is the minority or whoever's opinion wasn't actually taken goes back to the drawing board, goes back to his intellect and changes his intellect and changes his emotion to be according to what the Psak Din is. So the person, let's say it's Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, and Beis Shammai says that you have to light the menorah. The first night you light 8 candles, the second night you light 7 candles. Beis Hillel says no. The first night you light 1. The second night you light 2. Then comes the Psak Din. The Psak Din is we're going according to Hillel. Beis Shammai now, not only does he have to follow Beis Hillel and light the candles like Beis Hillel says, the whole school of Shammai has to follow Beis Hillel, not just in behavior, but in intellect and emotion. They have to go back to their opinion, to go back to how they came to their conclusion, and to revisit all their, everything, that all their considerations, and figure out how to make what they thought of, how it should make sense and how it should fit in to the halachic decision.
But something like that, isn't it gonna be that way after Mashiach comes, like Beis Shammai?
So that is true. That is true.
Sometimes there are contradictory halachas.
And Elu ve'el divrei Elokim chayim. All the opinions are true. And but the question is, so in heaven, all the opinions are true. As a matter of fact, if something is pure or impure, there are 49 different opinions of why it should be pure and 49 different opinions of why it should be impure. And it's all true. But ultimately, there is one halacha that is determined. Now, once the halacha is determined down here on this earth, the way halacha is meant to be right now on this earth, that's how everyone has to behave. And not only do you have to behave that way, but your emotions and your intellect also has to fit and match. You have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how recalculate, and that from your intellect and from your emotions, you should figure out how that would fit with the ultimate answer. So what happened in this story with Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel? Rabbi Gamliel says Yom Kippur is on Wednesday. Rabbi Yeshua says Yom Kippur is on Thursday. Rabbi Gamliel commanded Rabbi Yeshua to travel on the day that he thought was Yom Kippur, and the traveling would be beyond the amount that you're allowed to travel on Shabbos, on Shabbos, and Yom Kippur is Shabbos Shabbosin, so the amount that you're allowed to travel, or Yantif for that matter, be beyond the Tchum, beyond the 2,000 Amos. So Rabbi Yeshua Rabbi Gamliel told Rabbi Yeshua, on the day that you think is Yom Kippur, which is Thursday, I want you to travel from your place to Yavne, which is where I am, and you should come with your stick and with your money. Not just you should come, with your stick and with your money. Your stick is what supports you, and your money is completely outside of you. Money goes, one hand, money comes, money goes very, very quickly. To the most outside aspect of you also has to agree with the halachic decision, even if in the when as long as we're debating, As long as we're debating, one person says black, one person says white, fine. The Torah encourages you, debate, and we're supposed to, because the view was from a Torah source, so it's from how he learned it from his rabbis. It wasn't just taking it from nowhere. He was taking it from his previous Torah knowledge. But once, so it's encouraged. It's encouraged to argue and to debate. But once the halacha is determined, if the halacha is determined not like you thought, you have to not only have to behave according to the way the halacha is determined, but also you have to figure out how, from an intellectual and emotional perspective, you agree with the you have to work backwards. You have to work backwards to figure, and then the unity between Yeshua and Rabbi Yeshua and Gamliel is complete. That the unity is complete entirely, not just in behavior, but that I could truly, and Rabbi Yeshua listened, and he came on the day that he thought was Yom Kippur, and he was a great astrologer. He knew calendars and like that. He came with his walking stick and his money on the day that he thought was Yom Kippur, and he didn't come begrudgingly. They were truly united as one. They truly respected and
means that they were at peace with it.
They were, yes, they were at peace with it, and they were at peace with each other, 100% peace. Because when you have that third element, number 3, that third element, that determination from halacha, and both parties follow it, then that's true unity. It's not about me. It's not about me and my opinion, and it takes a lot of strength. It says Hashem oiz la'ama yitain. Hashem yivarech es amay bashalem. Hashem gives strength. It takes a lot of strength. You delved into it. You worked hard on it. This was your opinion. To let go of your opinion and to follow what the halacha says, that takes a lot of oiz. That takes a Torah strength. Takes a lot of strength. But ultimately, if you're willing to let go of your ego, to let go of your opinion and follow the halachic opinion, that is when Jewish people can have true unity. When everyone can let go of their ego, like you said, Malki, and realize that there's a higher truth. There's a truth. And that truth of number 3 has to penetrate, not just that I'm going to do it, but it has to penetrate, because true is true all the way through. It has to go into emotionally and intellectually, and every single level I have to be at peace with it, because this is what the halacha says, and that is how we accomplish true unity. Imagine if every person had their opinion, and opinions are great. But then once halacha was determined, if the people that felt differently, if they were able to let go of their opinion and join the opinion of halacha, then absolutely there would be true unity.
It's a drop different. What I'm saying is that the halacha became of different sects, right? Became their third opinion, right? So now everybody has a third opinion. So really, then the fourth opinion would be truth of unity. That's what I'm hearing. That means you could hold your halacha because it's your truth, but the truth is, the ultimate goal is to be okay with that, the differences of opinion.
Okay, so the truth is that we're still in Galus.
Right.
We're not living in the time of Mashiach. In the time, there is no 4.
No, what I'm saying is, but in the time of Mashiach, there will only be one.
So I'm saying is that
But our goal is to have unity.
Yeah, so we're talking about how things should be. So it's true that right now we're not there yet, but at least if we understand what the goal is or where we're supposed to go, or what that at least that, just I don't know, from the top of my head, this past Shabbos there was then it goes, which rabbi do you follow? So yeah, I don't have the answer to that. But imagine if all the rabbis work together like this. But for example, you have 2 differences of opinion.
Okay.
there's a place where the humanitarian aid from Israel was going to Gaza. So the families of the hostages were demonstrating over there, not letting the trucks through. They don't want the humanitarian aid to go through until they get their hostages back. So there was actually a halachic ruling by a rabbi. I don't know the name of the rabbi, and he said that you're allowed to be mechalel Shabbos, to stand over there and not let the trucks go through. So what I'm saying is that, and for someone to make that psak halacha is taking on himself a big responsibility. But if he does it with a true humility, then this is a psak halacha. Halacha has to be determined with true humility. But you know why? Because it actually affects people. And if you're making that halachic determination, you have to have you have to really, really be humble, because according to what you determine, this is how people are gonna serve Hashem. So there could be two opinions. One opinion is you're not allowed to be machal Shabbos. You can't desecrate Shabbos to stand over there. Another opinion is you could. But once there's a halachic ruling, then even the people that felt like, oh, you can't be machal Shabbos, if they were to consider this rabbi's halachic ruling, then there would be unity between all those people. True unity.
Yes, Kelly and Shabbos, not Kelly.
And something so small,
Yeah, but
there's an
we
error,
also-
right?
Yes,
So it's not, they're not coming to a, that's your halacha, that's my halacha.
right.
But, you know, I'm saying there are some women that don't wear shekels, they think it's your thing and your,
Right,
so you can't come to one,
not these days.
not these days.
But when Mashiach comes,
Yeah.
obviously we will. But what okay. So now we're gonna take a tiny detour and we'll talk about the difference between wisdom and Torah. Wisdom and Torah, although wisdom is a big part of Torah, Torah and wisdom are two different things, are very different. If you say the other nations have wisdom, that's true, but the other nations don't have Torah. The difference between wisdom and Torah is as follows. Wisdom is you're collecting intellect from outside of you. You could go to a doctor could tell you this therapy, that therapy, this procedure, that procedure, this medication, that medication, but then the doctor can't force you to do anything. As a matter of fact, even you go to the hospital has a patient bill of rights. You don't have to accept anything that anyone tells you. It's theoretical. You could do this, you could do that. Ultimately, I'm giving you all information, and ultimately the patient chooses what they want to do, and what works for you, what you want to do. No one could tell, in the wisdom of the world, no one could tell you what to do. The wisdom is outside of you. When it comes to Torah is different. Torah is inside out. Torah is the manual for a Jewish person. Torah understands how the makeup of the person. Torah is when you realize that I can have opinions from today to tomorrow, but when I realize that Torah is my truth, and Torah is not just a philosophy. Torah demands action. If Torah, it's not just is the chicken kosher, is it not kosher? Whether you're going to say if it's kosher or not, if it's not kosher, then you're not going to eat it. And if it is kosher, then you are going to eat it. And when it comes to people, all different treatments that are available today, if a couple can't have children, or if a woman wants to go to the mikvah, is it yes kosher? Is it not kosher? This is serious stuff. Why? Because it's actually going to affect the human being. It's not philosophy. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anybody. But if I'm going to say that this badika cloth is kosher, if it's not kosher, if it is tar, if it's not tar, you're playing with people's lives, and therefore, the halachic determination that when you take the two opinions and you try to resolve it, you have to go much deeper than a regular wisdom, because you're actually going to affect. You're actually making a halachic determination which people are involved. And that's why the Torah can't be compared to any other wisdom. So there's a million lessons here, but the number one is that we have to know that we could have opinions about anything and everything, but we have to know that what's our truth? Torah is our truth. So sometimes if I am told by a halachic authority that this is how I have to behave, or this is what my rabbi determines, and this is what I have to do, then even if I could prove it to theories from today to tomorrow, my opinion is different than what the halachic ruling is. I have to have the bittul, the humility, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to put my opinion aside, and I'm going to figure out how my opinion matches or fits with the halachic ruling. The halachic ruling, that's my base, that's my foundation, and everything else has to fit with that. Versus, oh, this is my opinion, and let me see how Torah could fit with my opinion. And that's how people go wrong. If you say, if a person says, look, I want to go to the beach on Shabbos, then I have to cut the Torah down to fit with my pleasures. And then obviously that doesn't lead to anything. That obviously is the wrong way to go. The right way to go is Torah says, Torah says I have to eat kosher. The fact that I'm in India and there's no kosher food to eat, okay, I have to figure it out. But where's my point of reference? Where's my starting point? So when you have two opinions and two different opinions, and people could be arguing with each other, so stop. It's not about making a compromise. You'll compromise a little bit, and I'll compromise a little bit, and then we'll have fake peace. It's about finding a third opinion, which is a Torah opinion, which is a halachic opinion, and then when Torah is the center of my life, then there could be true peace, because Torah is the truth.
But what about halachic rulings that are contradictory to each other?
So all I could say about that.
I know we have a store and everyone has
Yeah.
their rabbi that they go through and everything. It's not always very clear.
Right. So
Being told certain halachic authority are saying X, Y, and Z, whether it's the community we live in or whatever. And then we have your own personal whatever, it's the other way.
right. So basically in Galus, when we're still in Galus and we're not perfect, and we don't have the ultimate peace that we had V'yichan Shem Yisrael, we're working towards it. So you have to follow your rabbi. Now you can't go rabbi shopping, which means that for each thing, I'm going to go to a different rabbi to, for Pesach, I'll go to a Sephardi rabbi, and that way I'll get to eat rice. No, you have to stick to your halachic authority.
This teaching, you're saying like, I don't know how I'm saying is the halachic, that third part, which is the halachic ruling, is what brings the truth. But amongst us Jews, we have that third truth being so contradictory with each other, so
And it
it's not
actually
bringing us together. This is
causes,
the
yeah,
God,
right,
this is the God.
causes divisiveness.
I feel like
Right.
this Torah teaching is giving more ability, why there's so much difference between different sets of
Okay, so,
Judaism.
I think our mistake while we're here in Lewis is that when we do hear somebody else's halachic opinion, we have to respect that they have their rabbi,
Right,
and they have their way, and we have to
that's what
respect that,
that's what
and that's what's
I was
missing.
thinking that the third piece was that we're adults, we don't see, but we need everyone doing what they're doing. Like if this is how, if they're shaking their head or whatever, that's what Hashem needs from them. And I'm doing my part, being in this sect of Judaism. Like I see it as like we're all doing something for the collective same purpose. And we're all different jobs, so it's, and it manifests in very different ways, like we look different than we do. We do things, we eat different foods, we practice, we really do have differences.
because
So I feel like-
part of me
but-
rice, you're not gonna eat
right.
rice on Pesach. Even
Right.
though,
But for
right?
them, it's 100% okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
We
for them.
have to eat rice, and not me, my soul does not eat rice to serve Hashem, on Pesach, their souls do. And it's clear contradictory things, but again, we're all in the goal. But the Torah learning part, I feel like gives more of a reason why there's contradictory. A lot of
I'll give
really,
you an example of my daughter went she wanted to move to Tom's River, my oldest daughter, where most of us are here. And we were all pulling for her to come here because we're here. And her husband wasn't so sure about it. I mean, what can be better than being with your family, right? And she ended up going to her rabbi to get clarity. And he said, stay in Barakah for the chinuch of your children.
Wow.
And after that, we all accepted it. It wasn't, there was no manipulation, there was no,
Wow.
It was peace of mind. It's true peace of mind.
the whole family
And
went
on
along
the
with that.
level, there's really peace of mind, but on telepathic thing, I don't see how this would do this, I don't know. I mean, I, like I said, I see it like more like things to do their job, and that's what it's good to do, like, we're in the same army, like, we're all soldiers, we're all fighting for the same army. Maybe unity means accepting each other.
Right. Being, you know,
That's
no,
what they-
you went according to your rabbi.
Right, instead of poking fun, like I had such a funny thing, I was a few weeks ago away for Shabbos, and it was a lot of Hasidic, like Williamsburg, really Hasidic people. And I had just seen on a chat how I think Satmar gave out this like rules for mothers when they take the kids off the bus. And I was just laughing because like it has nothing to do with me. I was just, and then I was like, I think I was just like hitting, like riling up.
Right.
So I was having this conversation with this woman, and I said, what is that all about? And like, seriously, like everyone's so Hasidic and so from and so whatever, like what else do they need? And she was totally on it. She's like, no, the women have, like, I have to be more sensitive when I'm picking up my kid. So I'm gonna wear a different techol. I'm not gonna wear the brightest color. I'm gonna be more adol. And she was totally
On board.
she was on board. She was happy. She goes, yes, sometimes we need reminders. Sometimes we need rules. And
She's listening to
she
the.
was okay with it. And I stepped back.
I'm respecting her.
No, and I stepped back because I realized I was just looking for a fight. And then I was just like, bro, some fun, but I realized that like, I don't, whatever, it was just an interesting, and she was okay with it. She's like, no, it's fine,
You have to accept it.
and
So first of all, I just have to say with regard to this example, we also have to make a difference between halacha and, you know what I'm saying? You know,
It's not even a-
is it a halacha that I have to come?
You take the DC, there's a lot to cut, and that's where they cut, it was cut,
Psak halacha. Wow.
that's where.
No, it wasn't, it wasn't,
Wait, wait,
because when my. Can't read, because when my daughter asked the Rav about Elisa, she got a sock. She lives in Lakewood, she lives in Lakewood, so it couldn't be the whole of Lakewood.
But according to Ed, this is the terminology is used according to this and this Rav, it's a halacha.
This
So the
is Rav,
terminology is,
became that Rav's
so
halacha.
the thing is, if you follow that Rav, that's what you have to do. Okay, it's not.
Okay,
halacha.
so let's try to figure out, okay, I don't know the answer. Let's try to figure out together what this means for us today. And also, I want, and also, the end of this.
I think that's what brings me to that when we hear other people were given direct command or whatever, and they're happy with whatever.
I'm fine with that.
Our God is do not say, oh, that's so silly, whatever, but rather respect that this is coming from other people and there's a reason, those people need to do it. And do it married.
I love that.
I think that's where.
I love that.
It's coming from.
Okay, I just want to read one piece here.
I think good, but I think that's just what I feel like that's what the community.
Okay, so I just, yeah, absolutely.
Harry, thanks a lot for you, like.
No, it like it's way and way. If you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have enough humility,
That's a lot.
you just can get nowhere.
The arguments,
That's my personal.
all equals arguments, because you have that humility, like.
So I'm like sitting here saying, to find someone in the future that has more humility, you know, like just doesn't think
they're
they're all right.
There's
that-
humility.
Yeah, and that will look back and see, you know, Halacha's opinion and take parts of it or all of it. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you realize that, you know, I,
Our word will not. God.
yes, exactly.
You can't see past it.
Right.
And that way, you know, like.
We're like a horse with the blinders, you know?
Yeah.
Being open and the fact that
This day and age, it's able to be so.
It's always like the willingness.
Well, that's the other.
Right.
But you're
So
picking aside.
every person has how they view, how they see things, right? I have how I see things,
Stubborn.
right, and you have how you see things, right? So one thing is it's my way or the highway, and I'm not going to listen to anything you have to say. That's totally not good. But a person has to know that there could be how I think and how you think, and then there could be a combination. We could have a resolution if we're coming from what does Torah say? What does Hashem say? Like go.
It's so many answers, that's where I struggle. What does
Now,
God say?
go.
You can go to 5 different rabbis and they will tell you, go to Torah said, and complete 5
Right,
rabbis.
and they have their
And now, of course, you
opinions
can't
the same
shop
way.
around, but in my personal situation, I struggle with this because I'm sort of in the
Right.
world, and they're very contradictory on some certain things.
So in a Shiach, I say halacha, but it is, and we all follow.
So it's like how the door situation.
Right, I know I have a rabbi, and I feel like if I ever have that child, I would personally ask and get guidance for me. Luckily, my children are in schools where they're being told completely the opposite, and if those who are thereof, of course. So for me, that answer is not what brings unity. What the community is more of the attitude of not understanding that there are different ways to get stuff. And the reason that my phone is this stuff and your phone is that stuff.
That's what
And
really
all
Hashem
Hashem
gets.
says all, and Hashem is it for me, do what I'm told, and for you to do.
That's why they say you can't use your psak, you can't use your opinion on halacha for myself. If you asked us to a rabbi about something, I can say, oh, she got her.
Being biased to the opinion of whatever the stock is, but there's definitely more than one stock halacha that comes out.
Okay.
There's so many.
So
stock
because we're still in Gullus, and there is divisiveness, right? Because every rabbi says something else. And not only that, there are all different kinds of Jews. There are people that are religious and people that are not religious and people that are, you know, the whole spectrum, right? So what we have to realize is that our avodah, our work, what we have to do is that I'm going to just read this from here because I can't even say it because I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. A person has to first and foremost invest effort in uniting with and loving Jews on a lowly spiritual rung, and you could fill in the blank. You could loving Jews that are on a different spiritual rung or of a different rabbi, in a place of tremendous division and separation. Specifically there, Sham, Vayichan Sham, Yisrael. Specifically in the places where there is specifically in the places where there is divisiveness, specifically there, he must kindle unity so that all Jewish people become as one man with one heart. So yes, we all have different rabbis. Yes, we all have different stripes and colors, and we all come from different places and have different educations and different backgrounds and whatever it is. But ultimately, if we realize that yes, I have my rabbi, and I have to follow that opinion, but the challenge is when there's someone else who is different than me, who follows a different rabbi than me, that I should be able to love him and unite with him like one man with one heart, my entire being, on every level. And how can I do this? How can I do this? You act differently than me. You think differently than me. You feel differently than me. How can I do this? The Torah gives me the strength. The Torah somehow, because put everything aside, rise to a higher level, which we did on October 7th.
You know what united us then, unfortunately? a common enemy. So we have to take that same, how we got together on October 7th, and we have to, we're able, we see that we can unite, even when we're in Golos. Now we have to find a way to do it without the outside enemy causing this.
Right. So what happens here? What happens October 7th or what we're trying to do? I have my way and my rabbi, true. And you have your way and your rabbi, true. But when we're able to go to a higher plane and say, it's not just about how I view things or how my rabbi told me to do things, but there could be another opinion. First of all, there could be another opinion, but forget it. Go out of my ego, go out of my opinion. It doesn't matter what I think, what I feel, to go to, or even what I do, to go to a higher level and to realize that we're all Jews and we have one God and we have one Torah. And the whole point of Torah is that we should be K'ish Echad B'lei Echad, that we should be one. So if my whole Torah learning is so that I could bash someone else's theory, then I'm going wrong. Because we have to know, we have to come with the premise. Torah study, learning Torah, the giving of the Torah, what is it primarily for? It's primarily to bring unity between the Jewish people. So yes, practically speaking, we're living in Golos, and I have to follow my rabbi and you have to follow your rabbi. But I love you. I can truly, truly love you because I can go out of my viewpoint, just like I can go out of my way of looking at things, and you can go out of the way you look at things. Just like Rabbi Yeshua, he was sure that his opinion was correct, but he was able to put aside not only his actions, his emotions, his feelings, his intellect. He was able to put everything aside, and in the name of Torah, in the name of Torah, to be one, to have true Avos Yisrael to Rabban Gamliel. I know this is lofty. I know this is lofty, and I've been grappling with it for a few days. But the question is, can we go out of our ego, go out of how we view things, and truly love another person, love them entirely, love their entire being, despite.
No, but it's outside, just seeing the person for their soul, not for their.
But that's the thing. This is more than just singing for your soul.
Not for the right. That was the preface.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Seeing them for the differences, but still love them.
Right.
Because if I love you,
Seeing them for a person and with the differences.
right? If I love you because you're the same as me, then that's not true unity. If I love you despite that you're different than me, that's true unity.
Example you gave in Israel, right? It's a good example. So, like practically speaking, right? You're saying that if that's what the Rav, wherever, the head of whoever passing, they should be Machallah Shabbat, so locked up. In an ideal world, we would all be just conforming and agreeing. That's what you're saying?
If that was you see that if that was the halakha authority of that time, if that was the halakha authority of that time, then that would be the obligation. Yeah. So I'm saying I don't know what kind of following he has or who.
But you're allowed to save lives, you're allowed to.
It's not the case, that's my question.
So a lot of times people are able to give opinion, but for a Rav to say I'm passing this as halacha is a very huge step that most people don't want to take on their shoulders. I don't know who it was. But assuming that this was.
The head of whatever.
No, I don't think it was. It wasn't Rabbi.
I've had ones like.
It was probably, okay, whatever, it was a rabbi. A Mizrahi rather?
Could be.
I mean, I don't know.
Sounds like it.
But I'm saying, but I had one.
Really, practically speaking, is everyone in Eretz Yisrael?
So if your rabbi says,
And this is how this person paskin, would it be ideal for everyone to go?
so everyone has to follow that. Everyone has to follow their rabbi. That right. So it's a huge problem. So the question is, if my rabbi says differently than this rabbi, let's say, right? Can I still love the other rabbi and all of his followers? We're talking about the love. We're talking about the love.
No, I don't think.
One heart, but then you say one mind, instead there was one.
No, but one heart means one opinion.
Does it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So what does that mean? Like,
Oh my goodness.
so maybe it's not practical now so much yet, or
I don't know.
when Mashiach comes, he will be the
But
ultimate authority, and then we'll all be with one heart and one soul.
Okay, they had one opinion that we're all part of Hashem. That was their opinion.
So you know what? Maybe we have to figure out where all the rabbis do agree. You know, maybe we have to concentrate on that versus concentrate on the small areas where we don't.
It's not easy for us to
It's something
follow.
different.
I feel like it's just very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, we can all agree that we're all a part of Hashem. We can start from there. And then,
Like the one soul, right?
But
and
love-
if we
but
stick to that part,
but
it
that's
makes
love is
everything
with love.
else. Yes, but then we can accept each other.
But could you imagine if all the rabbis got together?
It'll be amazing.
If all the rabbis got together and deliberated, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and fought it out. You know what? They did that in the olden days. There was a whole school of Hill, there's a whole school of Shammai. That was the Gemara. And they fought it out, and then there was a halachic determination. Like even now, things are very gray. I think I saw that Hamas said if the IDF completely leaves, then we'll give you back. Then we'll think about giving back the hostages.
Right.
So halachically, it's a halachic question. Everyone. So one person has these kind of feelings, the other person has those kind of feelings, and they're both valid. I'm saying they're both valid, each one from their perspective.
They're not gonna feel, they're according to them, they will have to act and.
But is there? But in this area, I don't know if any rabbi gave a psak halacha of what the right thing to do is. I don't know.
I'm saying there are people, even if you want to go to the refugees now, some people are passing that, that's it, no, now one life is supposed to be
Right.
lost in the. So these are people passing halachos that are completely contradictory. So like, I'm not a soldier, but like technically like.
That's what. So we're talking in a very dark galus. But
That's, I just find-
if we, I don't know, if it just, even if right now it's.
Love someone because they have a different, like, different opinion, okay, so you're, but to me, it's the struggle of like, there's such strong opinions, both ways, and it's like, yeah, how you supposed to follow, like.
It always goes back to following your rabbi.
Right,
Yeah,
of
but
course,
how do
like,
you-
I know, but even at
You
like, idealistic level,
Right,
like, not
and
practicing
you know
big
about
things, but like.
How do they do it in Mitzrayim?
I had
There's
one.
no forbidden.
Right, but.
I had one.
They fought him also,
Right,
right?
it was the ultimately
I asked a question about rabbi.
What is it?
I called a rabbi once, which you have to know.
Most people say it.
And he's a big rabbi, he's a like, right, he's a world-renowned rabbi. A media question, okay?
With my COVID, a lot of them-
Call the rabbi.
Some of them, nah,
Well,
it's like,
that's
hey,
the way-
that's
cool. That's cool. That's where a couple of years ago. Because called him, he has big, broader shoulders.
Yeah.
So there is a concept of, you talking about a really, in its own right, he could have given a lot of room because Paul Rabbi, well, that's the law, that's he has bigger shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's an interesting, and it's just like, it's still stands, and it just like stands out. There is something about halacha. But you're not gonna get every degree, yes, say the head, not say the head. Yes, lace stocks, no lace stocks, sneakers, levels, you know.
Why they want to be in
It's
town?
so interesting, but being able to, be a person that does shave her head. And she's happy,
Right, but
she
it's
says, I
like,
don't true, like,
let's have to cover you here, right?
Even though I don't agree with that.
That's married to cover you, why do we have to see from Saita that she had to uncover here, so that's where we see that. If it's such an important foundation, he told us from the 50K, don't do that, don't do that, who's that, don't do that, right? I'm trying to say, why cover here, it's such a, so many things are so like vague, but not vague.
Because they're supposed to be contradictory.
Now, I'm- that's what I'm saying.
No, but it's room for interpretation, so we very like, you have to wear, it's room for interpretation, and therefore we all cover here a little bit differently, and.
I'm saying, and when she finds things to say, it's not, it stick out, and some people, no way, you know?
And really, like, it's so interesting because I'm
I
like,
find that there's so much wrong all over, like even in idealistic on Israel. Like I think it's just such confusing, I mean, religious doesn't apply to me technically, but it's very confusing. We have some that say act and some that say.
Those are sneers.
yeah.
Start with jump with sneers.
You know, that it's only, I'm on this, I'm on this CS chat that's totally like Sephardi, Rabbanim, and so interesting, because I don't know how I got onto it, but I'm so intrigued by the questions, and whoever's answering them is not your typical Lakewood. I'm on a CS chat, okay? And I don't know how I got on it, and I think I was looking for a fight that day or something, I don't know. That's interesting. No, I like controversy, I love it, you know? Yeah, I love it. I'm better at it. I used to read more into it. But anyway, I got on this chat and it's so interesting because the rabbis on it that are answering questions are diverse.
But this is.
Sephardi, anyway, what's interesting is one woman posted a question, do women have to wear pantyhose? And really, in the olden days, first of all, they wore long, they don't really have to, right? So it's so interesting, it became that minhag, like, of your place, right? But now it became so accepted that if you wear, let's say, pantyhose, even if you go to Florida and some women don't, you still have to wear pantyhose. It became your minhag. And it was just interesting, this was a total outsider, this was not Lakewood, this was not a Lakewood Road answering it, so it's interesting, it was, and I was thinking, I just told my sister that I don't think pantyhose, I mean, of course, I wear pantyhose, but I don't think it's a really, I think that's a halacha. I don't feel a pull to it. I'm saying, obviously, I'm wearing it because I'm a Lakewood and I want to fit in and I'm fine. But when I heard that rabbi say that, I'm like, you know what, I looked it up and I'm gonna do something to that.
Said,
So it's an interesting.
when you check that, if someone doesn't cover the check properly, the husband should give them divorce without fulfilling the schedule. That doesn't say anywhere, but I looked it up. I'm just like, if you know that, what does it mean? When you mean up your collarbone, does it mean?
No, but it's so interesting because we look like, whatever you said, we're so diverse, yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
So okay, so the conclusion to this question that we're trying to figure out, how are we supposed to deal with the fact that there are so many different halachic authorities and everyone passing something else differently? How does this teaching fit? So I just called my husband and he said as follows, that if my rabbi paskins one way and your rabbi paskins another way, I have to love you because you are through you listening to your Rav, you are following the Torah. So I love you because you're following Torah just like me. I'm following Torah. As long as we're all following our halachic authority, we're in very, very good shape.
Yeah.
Imagine if we all follow.
We're not having the same opinion.
We doesn't have to be the same opinion, but as long as you are following your halachic authority and I'm following my halachic authority, I love you because you are keeping the Torah 100% to the best of you are keeping the same Torah. The same Torah tells a man to put on tefillin and tells a woman not to put on tefillin. The same Torah says so just like a man and woman are different, we have different obligations, and you're not going to tell a man, oh, why are you not like, you know, tell a woman why you're not putting on tefillin, right? Because there's a different obligation. So the same thing, if as long as all of us, our starting point, our priority, our foundation is to follow the Torah. So when we have that mindset that Torah comes before my personal agenda, my personal research, or my personal opinion, or my personal taste or flavor, as long as I put Torah before my agenda, before my view, and you put Torah before your view, then we will be able to have this true peace, because what's uniting us is the third piece, which is the truth of Torah. So the Torah, as long as you're following the Torah in the truest way for you, and I'm following the Torah the truest way for me, so if I put Torah before my opinion, and you put Torah before your opinion, then we will then we actually will love each other, and we'll love each other completely, and we will love the person, the entire being. Because if we put the Torah before ourselves, and for the rabbis that are making the halachas, that are passing shilas, they have to have, if we have to have tremendous humility to put aside our opinion, our preferences before Torah, the rabbis have a much harder job. To be a Rosh Yeshiva and to discuss philosophy, that's fun. But to be a true Rav, to paskin shilas, it's a huge responsibility, and they need for that true humility. True humility. And I'm going to tell you, I could read a story from the story section that will prove this. The Rebbe related, Rabbi Yecheskel Landau, the famed author of Noda B'Yehuda, served as the rabbi of Prague from 1754 to 1793. Once, a group of scholars who wished to contest his rabbinic qualifications presented him with a series of questions in Torah law. These cases were carefully constructed to be as complex and as misleading as possible, to ensure the rabbi in their logical traps and embarrass him with an incorrect ruling. Rabbi Yecheskel succeeded in resolving all the questions correctly, all that is but one. Immediately, his detractors pounced on him, demonstrating how his verdict contradicts a certain principle of Torah law. Said Rabbi Yecheskel, I am certain that this case is not actually relevant, and that you have invented it to embarrass me. You see, whenever a man of flesh and blood is called upon to decide a matter of Torah law, we are confronted with a basic dilemma. How can the human mind possibly determine what is God's will? The do's and don'ts of Torah are the guidelines by which the Almighty desires that we order our lives. How is it that human error-prone intellect is authorized to decide such divine absolutes? The Torah has been given to man to study and comprehend, and whenever a question or issue is raised, it is man, employing his finite knowledge and judgment, who must render a ruling. In other words, when a person puts aside all considerations of self and totally surrenders his mind to serve the Torah, Hashem guarantees that the result will be utterly consistent with his will. However, concluded Rabbi Yecheskel, this guarantee applies only to actual events, when a rabbi is called upon to determine what God desires for an actual situation. Had you presented me with a relevant question, I know that I would not have erred, since I approached the matter with no self-interest or motive, other than to serve the will of God. But since your case was merely a fictitious question designed to mislead me, my mind was just like every other mind, imperfect and manipulable.
Wow, like ego, when you let Hashem guide you.
So also make sure that the rabbi that you're asking is someone that has humility and truly wants you to fulfill, someone that has humility and truly wants you to give you the answer to fulfill Hashem's will properly. If the rabbi that we're asking has an agenda, then that's not the rabbi for us. You need someone that has the humility and really truly wants to serve Hashem and wants you to serve Hashem. That's the kind of rabbi that we're looking for.
Wow.
And we all follow rabbis that are competent and are true halachic authorities, then we will be able to respect each other and love each other fully because we're all keeping the same Torah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, now